Perfect. Okay, welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me, for those that are joining live and for those that are watching the replay. I hope you enjoy this. Please feel free to jump in the chat box as much as you like. I'm hoping I should be able to see it while I'm share screening, but if I can't, I will come back and answer any questions. If you're watching the replay, be sure to message me and I will get back to you as well. Okay, let's jump straight in, because if any of you have been on a class with me before, you will know it is so easy for me to get carried away. So I want to be really conscious of your time. Okay, so welcome to Essential Oils for Health and Wellness. So today we're going to cover the basics and integrating them into daily health and wellness. I will give you a little brief on myself and what we'll cover today as well before we jump in. So today we are going to cover why a natural approach, a brief introduction to essential oils and doTERRA themselves, everyday use of essential oils, so how we can integrate them into daily habits and really make the most of them. And we will cover a little bit on minimizing and eliminating toxins, reducing, minimizing and managing stress, anxiety, emotional health, digestive health, enhancing sleep and energy, and getting started with your own oily adventure if you don't have these bottles in your hot little hands as yet. Okay, so let's jump in. I already can't see the chat box, so let me see if I can get that up, because it is always so nice to feel like I'm not chatting to myself. Perfect. Okay. Great. So firstly, for those of you that haven't met me as yet or haven't joined in on any of my classes, I am Ash and I am a doTERRA Gold leader. I am also a mum. I have 3 little boys. They are 7, 5, and 1. The moment I and myself and my husband own a health and fitness studio here in the Whitsundays, which we are currently renovating and creating a whole new venue at the moment to become a performance health and recovery center. So much exciting stuff too that is kind of all happening for us all at once, but also relevant because it just shows how ingrained health and wellness is to our whole lifestyle. So lots of good stuff. Now, I was introduced to essential oils 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago. When my middle child was newly born, I was actually gifted a family essentials pack. And if you had have invited me to an essential oils class, I probably would have said, thank you very much. I'm not really into candles and smelly stuff. So I had no idea what they were. However, the friend that gifted them to me was a pharmacist and also a functional diagnostic nutritionist. So a friend that I trusted very much in the world of science and health as well. She loves it all. So I was very, very lucky. I dove into them and just fell in love. I was Googling all the things, doing all the things, and obviously it aligned so much with our journey and where we were already at. And it just sent us on this trajectory that was absolute game changer for us in proactive and preventative health. Okay, that's me in a nutshell. Try to recap that quite quickly. I would love to know a little bit about you. So jump in the chat box and let me know where you are from, if you're already using oils, and maybe what your favorite one is, if you have it handy. Okay, while you're doing that, let's chat through. So we're going to go through essentially, pun intended, we are going to go through the home essentials kit. I'm going to touch on those, but I love them all. So chances are when we start to dive into daily habits, I'm going to rattle off a few others. So I'll try and keep it nice and neat. But let's start with why you might choose essential oils and why you might choose a natural approach in the first place, and what actually the difference between a conventional and holistic approach to health and wellness is and how. So A conventional approach is basically managing symptoms, which you will see very heavily in today's just general society and communities is we're managing symptoms. So people are looking for a solution for a problem that they have, opposed to diving into the underlying factors of where they are coming from. Oh my gosh, I have to jump in here. Western Australia. Oh, how lovely, Ali. And Ballarat. I'm actually originally from Maryborough, down near Ballarat in Victoria. But I've been up here for a lot of years now. Almost 16 years. 15, 16 years. Yeah. Oh, so it's so nice to have some friends from all the different states. Okay, I'm going to jump straight back in. So, conventional approach. People are looking for managing symptoms. So we're looking at a symptom or a problem that we're having, and an approach something that we can do to alleviate that, but not actually asking why and looking at what the underlying reason for that happening is. A conventional approach to health and wellness, majority of the time, like 99% of the time, we're also looking at side effects that come with that, and is also a 6.5 trillion per year industry. And that has probably skyrocketed in the last couple of years. It is also reactive from a mental approach. So it is that something happens, I'll do this. And then something comes up, I'll do this for that. So it's a very reactive mentality. And I teach that a lot in daily healthy habits and wellness. And if you follow any like Instagram stories and things like that, you will see that I'm very much an advocate for proactive health and wellness and preventing these things from happening in the first place. Of course, there are always going to be things that happen, and we are always going to need a conventional approach to things when they pop up. However, if we can do the majority and the 80% of that, which comes from a holistic approach, then when we rely on the other 20% for the conventional, then it's actually going to be effective, and it's actually going to be helpful and life-changing in most cases. So the holistic approach to health and wellness means we're addressing the body's needs. We are looking at the underlying root cause. In this case, they're extracted from plants, and in most cases, so if you're looking at healthy eating, we're looking at foods that are extracted from plants or animals. We are looking at whole foods. We are looking at lots of traditional herbs, and most medicines and are actually recreated from a natural plant version. So our emphasis is on overall health and well-being. So we are looking at the body as a whole. So in our in our fitness gym, for example, when I'm working with clients there, we often have clients that will come in with injuries or have being referred to us from physios and chiros and things like that, osteopaths. So when we're working with a client and they come in with a sore knee, the first thing I'm looking at is the feet. So I'm looking at what is happening with your feet, what kind of trigger points are going on in there, how do they move, how are they, what kind of mobility do you have there? I'm not even looking at the knee until I've looked at the feet and I've looked at the hips, so that I can see what's happening either side, because that is what is influencing the knee. And this is when it comes to everything as a whole body approach and overall approach to health and well-being. So we could eat really healthy, but if we don't do any movement and any exercise, we're still going to be very mediocre, and vice versa. We can be crazy fit, but if you are not eating well and enough and all of the right kind of things, then we're still not going to be sitting in a space of health and well-being. So it really is a holistic approach. Now, it is a very proactive mentality as well. So that proactive, that working towards the positive, working towards the health and wellness and staying focused on the health and wellness, opposed to looking over your shoulder and continuously trying to run away or step away from illness, pain, suffering, and things like that. I have a quick story about that one as well. Here we go. I'm already taking way too long with my intro. But when it comes to whole body and addressing the body's needs, about a year ago, my middle son suddenly had a stutter. So all of a sudden, this stutter started to come along with his speech. He was speaking perfectly fine before that. There wasn't any major things that had triggered it. There was nothing going on. And he just all of a sudden started stuttering, and it just progressively started to get worse, to the point where he couldn't even ask me for a drink of water. He just couldn't get it out. So he completely shut down. He retreated. He wouldn't speak at kindy. He wouldn't talk to anyone. He really started to hide and shelter into himself, and it was heartbreaking to watch. So of course I went to doctors, children's health nurses. They referred us to speech pathology. We went there, and I wasn't getting much results. And all of those people I asked, where's this come from? What could have triggered it? Where's this stutter come from? And every single one of the health professionals in that area said to me, it just happens. I was like, well, I'm not really buying that. Said it just happens. Maybe it's because you're pregnant and he's nervous about having a sibling. I'm like, well, I know loads of people who have other kids, and he's a second child, and that's not very common. And then they basically just rambled off a bunch of random things that was, maybe it's this, and pretty much the generic response I got was that it just happens. So personally for me, I wasn't taking that. And so I looked at, I'd mentioned also that he had been getting worms recurring. Well, all kids get worms. It's super common. That's nothing related to speech, all of this kind of stuff. So actually my friend who gifted me the essential oils, who were quite close with, I messaged her and was like, hey, this is what's going on. He keeps getting these recurring worms, and I'm suspecting a gut brain thing, maybe a gut brain axis thing that's going on that is, I don't know, for some reason interacting and like affecting his speech. And she'd said, well, I've not heard it. She goes, I haven't come across it before, but it makes sense. Like, and I was the first person that didn't think I was absolutely crazy. I was like, I think there's an underlying issue. There's got to be something, because he could talk and now he can't. So we did some gut microbiome testing. I integrated a few of the essential oils that were really good for cellular health. So I think DDR prime, frankincense. They were the main two that we used. A little bit of spearmint if you wanted, lavender, which was great for communication as well. So I looked at the physical and the emotional benefits of the oils that we integrated into that approach for him, did some gut testing, found a few issues with his liver and some toxins, which we then was a couple of natural supplements. And very quickly, within like a couple of weeks, we also looked at dietary stuff as well, so food intolerances and things. So we're pretty all over that. We have pretty minimal gluten and dairy and stuff, but we really dialed it back. The little bits that were sneaking in, we really dialed that back, and within weeks the stutter had come right down and was barely there. And now a year later he has no stutter at all. He's not on the supplements anymore, and yeah, super amazing. So I think of how many people told me I was crazy, and how many other people actually would just accept that as an answer and struggle with that. And that's not just me as a mom. That's my child that could have lived with that for the rest of his life if I hadn't have just taken those couple of proactive and reactive, because obviously we didn't know there was a gut issue. So there is a process of reactive. And of course we used some amazing conventional testing. So that's a great example of integrating both. So I thought I'd share that with you. Okay, so what are essential oils? So essential oils are nature's defense mechanism for plants. So how plants are grown and how the essential oil is extracted from that plant is absolutely critical. So we're talking quality and massive quality control here. So when the plants are grown naturally in the wilderness, like doTERRA source their plants from all over the world. So something I'm often asked is that, especially here in Australia, because we love to support local, is that I would prefer to buy an Australian brand. So for me personally, I'm huge. I'm all about where I'm spending my money, and I am love and super advocate for supporting locally as much as possible. doTERRA as a global company. So one, I'm supporting many people locally that are around me who I've purchased through because of the structure of this and learning from the people around me. So they are all being compensated, financially compensated. That money is being spent locally in towns, but also the fact that these plants are harvested from all over the world, the farmers, the growers are being well looked after as well, but that these plants are then grown in their natural environment in the wilderness. So we physically cannot harvest majority of these oils in Australia because of the environment, and they don't grow here naturally and things like that. So these plants, when they're grown naturally in their environment, are exposed to different weather conditions. So storms and heat and drought and things like that, different soil conditions, different bacteria, predators, and things like that. So the plant itself builds up a natural fight or flight response to these threats. And when we harvest the essential oil, those are the benefits that we're extracting from that. So if you think of something like tea tree, for example, which is grown here in Australia, tea tree grows up north. So I'm up in I didn't think I mentioned that, but I'm up here in the Whitsundays in North Queensland. So tea tree is harvested even further north, and it grows in mold, hot, humid, moldy, insect infested kind of areas. I'm making it sound really horrible up here. It's not quite that bad, but it is really it's the perfect environment for mold. Like mold is something we constantly have to stay on top of. Bugs and insects are like crazy up here. So tea tree, when we think of what oil I might use for bug bites, for mold, for cleaning mold, for preventing mold, all of these things, tea tree is the oil that I'm going to use because it actually has all those benefits. And that is because the plant itself has built that natural fight or flight response to that environment. Does that make sense? Are you with me? How cool is that? Did you know that? So that is why the harvesting and where the plant is grown is so critical. If this plant is grown in a greenhouse, if a tea tree plant is grown in a greenhouse and it's not exposed to all of those conditions, my internet's unstable. I am recording, so if you lose me, I'll be back on. So if it's grown in a greenhouse and and it doesn't build up that natural fight or flight response to those different threats and environments, then when we extract that essential oil, we're not getting those therapeutic benefits from that oil that we would get if it had been exposed. Again, let me know if you're with me. So super cool. The harvesting of where the oil comes from is absolutely critical. And that is why doTERRA harvest their oils from all over the world, from where those plants do grow naturally. They are how the essential oil is extracted next is also absolutely critical. So they are steam distilled or cold pressed is the main two ways that the essential oils are extracted. However, most companies, and actually from third-party testing, which I'll show you guys that is done through the ARC, have actually shown that 89% of essential oils on the market, and I think that was actually higher when I was at leadership a leadership event over the weekend, are adulterated. So it is very, very few essential oil companies that actually grow, harvest, and present essential oils for third-party testing that is actually pure. If any of you, most of you will be new, but a couple of years ago, we actually had 𝗘𝘀𝘀𝗲, which is a fantastic oil for hormone support and all the goodness. It's a beautiful citrus oil for Bulgaria, but that oil was off the market for a while because it was somehow adulterated in the process. So doTERRA refused, and they had copious amounts of batches of this oil ready to go. But the third-party testing came back that it was adulterated at some point. And whilst they tried to figure out where that was coming from, they actually took it off the market. So that losing that much money was not as much of an issue as the integrity of only producing pure essential oils. So yeah, as heartbreaking as that was to not be able to have access to it, it was also obviously so empowering to know that the quality was such a high priority. So the pure extracts from plants, essential oils, why you might use them over herbs, is that they're actually 5 to 7 times more powerful than the herb itself. So if you think of peppermint, like peppermint tea, if you were to use the herb peppermint, it would take 28 cups of peppermint tea to get the same therapeutic benefits as you would from 1 drop of peppermint essential oil. How cool is that? So if you have a peppermint essential oil handy with you, pop it open, freshly cracked, pop a drop in the palm of your hand and take a little inhale and see if you can notice or reflect, understand, see how that 1 drop of peppermint could possibly be as potent as 28 cups of peppermint tea. So if you've ever drank peppermint tea for calming of a nighttime, personally, peppermint is way too fire and wire for me to have at nighttime, except now when I'm presenting. It's definitely a morning oil for me. I wouldn't have a cup of peppermint tea at night or I'd be awake. But it is, a lot of people use peppermint for digestive type issues and things like that. So if you drink a cup of peppermint tea normally, 1 drop of the peppermint oil in some warm water is beautiful. Oh, I love that, Kira. Yes. And drinking 28 cups of peppermint oil might mean you are peppermint tea, might mean you are peeing a lot for the next few hours. So we are looking at the root cause as to why something has happened. And I mentioned that just before. So this becomes more affordable. So another something that always gets, that not always, but sometimes gets brought up is the cost of the essential oils. So when you actually break down the cost of the essential oils, we are looking at cents per drop. So in a 15 ml bottle, there are 220 drops in a 15 ml bottle. And because of the pure and potency of these essential oils and how they are sourced and the effort that goes into that purity is why you're only using 1 to 2 drops at a time, opposed to using 1, and then not to mention the money and time, energy you're going to save on your actual health and the proactive approach on that. So I use tea tree often for earaches and things like that. That's prevented us from going to so many doctor's appointments. So up here, again, humid, hot, heat, the kids are swimming all the time, perfect environment for ear infections. My eldest son, a couple of years ago, had terrible stomach pains, like appendicitis type pains, and was screaming in agony. We rang the hospital. They got us to jump on 1 foot, and that because that indicates whether they actually have appendicitis or not. So we'd done that. It wasn't appendicitis. I rang the doctors. I'm not sure about where you are. It took us a week to get in, to even get an appointment to get him in. Meanwhile, he was in excruciating pain. But it was coming and going. So we went to go, every time we'd go to emergency, it would last a few minutes and then it would be gone. So we actually did a little bit of problem solving so that when I had my doctor's appointment, I could walk in and say this, this, and this. So we were using Digesten, which is for digestive support. So I used that and it wasn't making much difference. And he wasn't having any trouble going to the toilet. So I was like, okay, makes me think it's not really something digestive. Then we used Ice Blue, which is our athletic rub. So heavily diluted, use that on his tummy. And every time we used that, it alleviated the pain and he was fine. The pain would stop very quickly. So that indicated to me that it was something inflammation based, because that's what we're going to use for aches, muscles, pains. It's like your all natural DP. So for me, it was okay. I had a little bit more information so that when I went to the doctors, I was able to say, okay, my doctor uses essential oils as well. So that was a bonus. I was like, okay, I've used digestin, doesn't make a difference. Having no toilet issues. We use the ice blue, and the pain alleviated super quickly. So I'm guessing something inflammatory. Like, what are you thinking? Not to be one of those people that walks into the doctors and like, hey, I Googled it. But I was actually able to go in with information and say, okay, here we go. And he had swollen lymph nodes between his stomach and bowel, which basically is like childhood headaches. It's just inflammation. Your lymph nodes are fighting something. So whether he had some kind of virus or something like that he was fighting. So on top of that, we just used On Guard on the bottom of the feet daily to support any kind of immune stuff as well. So they sent us home and said it could last 2 to 6 weeks and there's nothing you can do about it. So luckily for me as well, I was so grateful that I did have these on hand, that I could use them to alleviate his pain really quickly versus being sent home with nothing. So another example of how one that could be cost effective and time effective. I saved a lot of time probably going backwards and forwards, roundabout, appointment after appointment while they tried to figure out what was wrong. I was just able to have that little bit more information. Yeah, cool. So, and again, we're looking at the cents per drop, the proactive approach, and looking at the root cause. So we're still always looking, although we might reach for the oils to alleviate a symptom, I always encourage you to ask why. And generally asking why at least 3 times if you're not getting a good quality answer. So if my kids have got even an ear infection, I'm like, or like an earache kind of thing, I'm like, okay, let's use tea tree and lavender. We'll rub that around. Why have you got this? Have we been swimming lately? Have you maybe got a virus? Because we don't know what's like, you haven't been swimming. There's nothing that's prompted it. Has someone stuck something in their sibling's ear? All the kind of things that we are, I'm always asking why as well. Just so I know, okay, then I can support the why as well if I need to. Apologies, my internet is dropping out again. Okay, I am running behind. All right, so hopefully this has been helpful for you so far. So 3 ways to use essential oils. We have got diffuse or inhale. So we've got aromatic, topical, and internal. 3 ways. Aromatic is simply inhaling the essential oil. So when we breathe in the essential oil, or take a deep breath, grab something by you if you do. I've got eucalyptus this time. So when you take a deep breath in and inhale that essential oil, it travels through the olfactory bulb in the nose to the limbic part of the brain. And that's our emotional learning processing part of the brain. So we can target that very quickly by simply inhaling the essential oil. So if you, and most people would have experienced this at some point without even realizing. So if you've ever walked past someone in the shopping center and you smell someone, they're wearing a perfume and it's your mom's favorite perfume. She used to always wear it when you were a kid, and you walk past and smell that, and instantly that makes you feel happy. Hopefully your mom makes you feel happy. Instantly you smell that and it makes you think of your mom, and it makes you feel happy. You feel warm, no matter what was going on in that moment. You feel, it takes you back to your childhood instantly, in an instant. Or you walk into somewhere, it could be a restaurant or somewhere, and you have that smell of a Sunday roast cooking. So you walk in, someone's cooking a roast lamb, and instantly it takes you back to your grandparents every Sunday for that roast lunch, the family catch-ups, and you get that warm, fuzzy feeling. So you can, let me know if you've ever experienced that before. Drop it in the comments. That is an aromatic anchor. So we can recreate that with essential oils. And this is so powerful. I've done this. I do this with my children regularly so that they can have that something to really anchor into too. So this is by simply, so anything, if you want to move away from emotion or you want to move towards an emotion, so whether you want to move towards that happiness, joy, calm, or whether you're trying to move away or alleviate in the moment, anxiety, overwhelm, anything like that. So you can choose an essential oil that you want to anchor to, or sometimes you need to smell a few and just see what feels right for you. But that taking a deep breath in and a long, slow breath out as you breathe that, and you can really start to anchor in that particular scent to that emotion by continually using it and continually anchoring it in. Now, that long, slow breath out also activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is really cool. That's our rest and digest state. So if you are specifically using it for something like anxiety or overwhelm, that deep inhale, there's multiple things happening because you're inhaling the essential oil and the chemical constituents within that are activating through the brain and using it as an anchor. But then we're also physically affecting the body with that long, slow breath out and activating the parasympathetic nervous system, so our rest and digest. Very cool. Very cool. So we can use it aromatically by taking a smell out of the bottle, by putting that in the diffuser. So I have my diffuser going over here, and I have got diffusers in every room of the house. I didn't start there. I just had one for a start, and I used to move it around the house everywhere. Now I couldn't imagine doing that, but everyone has got their own diffusers in their bedrooms. We've got them in the living room, everywhere. So we can create those different moods and emotions. So I've got specific oils that I'll use in the morning to wake the kids up, have everyone feeling good, although my house is full on crazy. I've got the 3 boys, so you can imagine high energy all the time. Then we've got some beautiful oils like balance that we're using in the afternoon, or balance and frankincense, lavender, things like that, that are really quite calming in the afternoon. Now, the other thing I love about aromatic use is if we are fighting any germs, bugs, I want to purify the air, anything like that, by using the diffuser, it means that everybody is inhaling that. So I might use On Guard, which is the immune blend, topically on someone if they're feeling a bit run down. And I'm also going to use that on everyone as a preventative. We've got that proactive approach, and that's the beautiful thing about essential oils. About these is that we can use them in a proactive approach. So if someone else is sick or have been at the playground and seen some snotty kids, things like that, we can use that immune support now without any side effects. You're not going to go grab some medicine and take that just in case you might get sick. So that, again, coming back to that combination. So breathing in the essential oils is a fantastic way to create that aromatic response, but also the physicality of that very quickly. So think sinus, clearing airways. You've got the easy air, the peppermint. And so I've got breathe here on the presentation, you'll see, which is our easy air. Integrate. I've still got the digest sandwiches. We've just changed to Zenjas. So we've got the diffusing or aromatic use of essential oils. Then we've got topical. So topical is using them on the skin. Topical. We are always diluting essential oils, and we're going to dilute further for anyone that's a little bit elderly, because the skin is thinner and more absorbent, and also for babies and for younger kids and things like that, we're going to dilute more heavily. So diluting more heavily means we're going to add more of a carrier oil. So something like fractionated coconut oil, or you can use any oils that you've got. So if you did put some on and it was burning or stinging or anything like that, you would just dilute it rather than wash it off with water. You would actually dilute it with oil. So whether that was just olive oil straight out of the cupboard, any kind of oil you would use to dilute it, and that's going to be able to dilute that on the skin as well. So we're always going to dilute. I love to pre-make things too. So I've always got pre-made roller bottles around that I've got ready to use. This makes it so easy and efficient. If you're going to create daily habits, you want them to be easy. Creating daily habits that you have to go out of your way to do they're not going to stay as daily habits. So we want to make it really easy. I've got roller bottles pretty much for all the things all around the house, in bags, all of that, so they're easy to use. So topically, something we might use is Ice Blue, which is the athletic rub. That's the one I mentioned before that I rubbed onto my son's tummy. We could use that on for aches, pains, joints. We use this a lot in our studio with members, clients, ourselves. So any kind of neck tension, aches, pains, shoulders, any just niggles, arthritic type pain, ligament, tendon, all the things. We're going to go with Ice Blue. Digestin is another one we use topically often. So that's think anything digestive. Now this is also think digestive of thoughts as well. So that's where the Zen part comes into it. So the monkey chatter or the laying down to go to bed and the brain just goes crazy. nope, just me, that Digestin is amazing for that. So you can pop that one either on the big toe, which is the reflexology point for the brain, if you don't love the aniseedy kind of smell. I don't really drink much anymore, but when I was 18, I drank too much Sambuca on my 18th birthday. So Zengest just takes me, aromatic anchor takes me back to being 18 and drinking Sambuca. So it's definitely not my favorite. I would put that on the feet opposed to anywhere near that I can smell it. So think of that for kids as well. So if you have a child that you really want to pop some On Guard on, just a drop with some coconut oil, because they're run down, or you want to support their immune system, but they really don't like the smell of it, the feet are so amazing because you can put it there and it's going to absorb that, help into the rest of the body. Or you can use the reflexology points in the bottom of the feet to pinpoint where their pain is if they can't describe it as well. Okay, and then we've got internal. So not all oils are for internal use, but we can use them either by popping into veggie caps. So I've got the doTERRA veggie caps, and I also use liver capsules a lot to put organic beef liver in the kids' food and minces and things like that. I haven't got myself around to cooking liver yet, so I get the capsules and I just pop them open and put them into food. So hot little food tip, I told you I was not going to get through this without something else related. So I pop those in there and I actually keep the capsules there, and then I can top those up with anything. So if I've got like a hay fever or allergies or something like that, I'll pop a couple of drops of lavender, lemon, and peppermint, each 2 of each, top it up with coconut oil, and then I can take that as a capsule. Or I can put some lemon in my water every morning. I am loving green mandarin. So as you start to venture into all the other oils, that is absolutely delicious. And if you put the green mandarin with a drop of juniper berry, it tastes like a refreshing non-alcoholic gin and tonic. It is absolutely delicious because gin is actually made from the same plant as juniper berry. Well, from the juniper berry plant. There you go. And we can use it under the tongue. So frankincense is a godly oil for good reason. It was given to baby Jesus. I use this one. The benefits are absolutely endless. I encourage you with frankincense actually to, if you want to dive in a little further, to actually look up PubMed and frankincense. There are just endless and phenomenal research that's gone into this oil. It's also very precious and hard to harvest because the plant itself, the tree, it comes from the resin. So the tree that grows in really, it basically grows in rocks. So very hardy, very resilient tree. And when it is harvested, the tree is cut, the resin is collected from that, and then the essential oil is harvested from the resin. So it's quite a process. That tree then has to completely heal before they can harvest from that again. So cheaper companies or people that are taking shortcuts with essential oils wouldn't be waiting that whole 12 months or wouldn't be waiting fully for that tree to recover. So you're not going to be getting the therapeutic benefits from every single batch of oil, which you do here. So I, with this one, just invert the bottle and pop a drop under my tongue every morning for anxiety, overwhelm, calm, central nervous system, just really anchoring that in, and central nervous system alignment and just feeling really grounded. I love it, and I really notice the difference when just dealing with the chaos in the mornings when I haven't had that. So frankincense is also amazing for cellular health, anti-aging, absolutely amazing. It really is a phenomenal oil and one I do not let run out very often at all. All right, are you with me? So we have got aromatic, topical, and internal use of the essential oils. I've given you loads of tips in there, so don't forget, you will get the replay, so you can scribble as many notes as you need to now, but I will send that through for you too. Okay, a little on doTERRA's, why I decided to stay with doTERRA. So when I was exposed to the essential oils, I did dive in and do a little research to be like, okay, but honestly, I was not going anywhere from doTERRA. So firstly, their co-impact sourcing, absolutely incredible and critical, because the sustainably sourcing the essential oils if you are so reliant on them, like I am, you're not going to be too happy if they suddenly can't stock that oil anymore. So actually looking at the long term of the business and of the plants. For example, over in Hawaii, they've just planted 2 years ago, planted 10 hectares of sandalwood trees over there. Now, sandalwood, they can't harvest those for 35 years before they will actually be able to harvest any essential oils from that plant, from those trees. So talk about long-term vision and sustainable sourcing. Pretty amazing. Now, also, their co-impact sourcing is that they actually work directly with the farmers on the ground, so no middleman. If you dive in and have a look a bit on their back history and the story behind how they were sourcing the essential oils, in 2008, mid-global financial crisis, put the houses on the line to find this, and the only way that they could find pure essential oils was by going direct to the farmers. So here now they've built, absolutely pride their whole company on working directly with the farmers and helping teach and educate them how to grow amazing plants and resources. So instead of walking into third world countries where a lot of these plants grow naturally at their best, instead of walking into those countries, buying up all the land, bringing people in or paying them cheap labor, they actually come back to those farmers and help teach them about how to farm really well these plants. So really amazing initiative there. So there's heaps of stuff you can find on those for each of the different oils, and you can go in and see where they meet some of the farmers and things like that. So I think most of them are on YouTube too, so if that side of it interests you, dive in and explore. That's absolutely amazing. Quality is unmatched. So the Global Botanical Network and also the APRC, which is the fourth one along there, is where we have all kinds of third-party testing done. And every bottle actually has a batch number. Probably can't see. Actually has a batch number on the bottom of the bottle. And you can type that into source2you.com and it will come up with all of the third-party testing from that batch of essential oils. And you will find, if you were to compare 2 different bottles from 2 different batches of lavender, for example, the chemical constituents in those would be slightly different percentages, because they're going to have be exposed to different environments and weather conditions and things like that. So a bottle that's harvested in summer versus a bottle that's harvested in winter is going to have slightly different levels of those chemical constituents. The therapeutic benefits you get from that and the general is going to be within par, but they're going to be slightly different. So if you were to go in and they were all exactly the same, that's a red flag, because it shouldn't be all the same. We're not exposed to all of the same day-to-day environmental factors, threats, and environment. So either of these plants. And then into that as well is the certified pure tested grade essential oils. That's all the third-party testing that you can find information on as well. So feel free to look up those. And then Global Impact, the Healing Hands initiative. Again, absolutely amazing. So there are a few different organizations that doTERRA teams with. So we actually last weekend was at a leadership retreat and had the absolutely beautiful experience of packing some of the bags for Dignity, Women with Dignity, I think it's called, where we actually went in and packed a bunch of doTERRA resources in these beautiful calico bags and got to write notes for them, and then they are left in homes that are safe refuges for women fleeing domestic violence. So when they get to these homes, these safe houses, they head in there and these beautiful little kits are there as a gift for them. So we actually got to pack some of those on the weekend, which is absolutely beautiful. The Rose and Hope, Rose Lotion and Hope Touch, also 100% of those proceeds go to the Healing Hands Foundation, which is then distributed to local charities. Cool. All right, so let's go. I've got 10 minutes. If you have any questions specifically, drop them in the chat box as well. I'll be sure to cover them. Okay, so everyday use of essential oils. These are just a snippet of the way that we're integrating them into our day. Now, when you're starting out on your essential oil journey, know that what you are seeing here is me attempting to simplify, but basically just showing you what is possible. And this is not where I started. So I started with a drop of frank under the tongue, a drop of lemon in my water bottle, and it grew from there. So don't look at my habits now, 5 years after using the essential oils, and compare them to your day one. Okay. But this is just all of the things that is possible, and for you to pick and choose which ones are relevant to you now and which ones you can start to implement and then layer in. Cool. So cooking, I love adding them into cooking, bliss balls, things like that. I just made choc muffins last weekend. I added the peppermint in there and the kids went nuts for it. They were like, choc mint, amazing. Digestion. So obviously we've got the digestive oils. Hair and skincare I use a lot for. So I am fighting all of the breastfeeding kind of like perfect little triangle of hair loss there. So I'm using some cedarwood, some peppermint and rosemary in a DIY hair mask. Then I'm also adding that into shampoo and conditioner. We're using them for immune support as preventative and also reactively for immune. We've got household cleaners, replaced all of the toxic load. So when we look at underlying health issues and toxic load and hormone imbalances and moods and behaviors and all of these kinds of things in us, then we can pretty much always come back to environmental in a lot of the cases. And when you clean that up, it is amazing the cascade effect that has on your health and your whole family's health. So getting rid of toxic things around the home like cleaners is a really great place to start. It's easy. It's a physical place to start. So really easy and really cost effective when you do some of them as the DIYs. So dishwasher tablets, toilet cleaners, floor cleaners, air fresheners. Air fresheners are one of the most toxic ever. So yeah. Okay, neck and head tension, so any kind of aches and pains physically, seasonal environmental discomfort, allergies, things like that. Personal care products, toothpaste, mouthwash, body washes, all of these. These are another very heavy toxic load, especially on females. I'm looking at hormone support. I'm using them often for hormone support. I use them all through my postnatal journey and then my pregnancy because I had a third child in there as well. So pregnancy, postnatal, my sister's about to give birth any day now, and I get to have the absolute privilege of being in there, being her support person. So we have a little oil kit ready to go. We're just talking about that today. Air fresheners, they're going to support energy, focus, motivation. So I'm reaching for them for any kind of moods and pick-me-ups. Enhancing sleep. So optimizing sleep is absolutely critical. First aid kit, helichrysum, liquid stitches. With 3 boys, I am leaning on this guy a lot. Saved us quite a few hospital trips, that's for sure. And then the mood management kits as well, and mood management oils. All right, so eliminating toxins. I'm just going to brief over this one. Oops, can I go back? No. Why am I going forward? Okay, let's go back there. Play. Eliminating toxins. So here is a really great place to start, and just making simple switches. So if you're at the start of your journey, as you run out of something, just replacing it with a better option. So as you run out of your like oven cleaner, just replacing that with a really simple DIY oven cleaner. I do have some green cleaning ebooks and resources as well that I give to my team when they get started with essential oils. So please jump online or message me if that's something that you need as well, and I'll have those that I can send through with a few of my fave easy DIY recipes there. So toxins and eliminating toxins. Toxins are anything that is causing damage and disruption to your body's homeostasis, so your body's happy place. Now, this could be anything. It could be external, think mold, environmental, chemical, personal care products, cleaning products, or they can be internal, so food, genetics, moods, your thoughts. Your thoughts can be toxic, and yes, they can impact your physical well-being as well. And usually, commonly, it's a combination of both internal and external. Why? So toxins are causing damage and disruption to all of your body functions. And because everything is so interconnected, when you get on this cascade of something's wrong, the body is really good at throwing all resources at it and compensating until you get to a point where the body goes, I don't know what to do anymore, I'm done. And then all of the symptoms come out at once, and then you're attempting to problem solve. And that's when quite often we see clients that will come in and they're like, oh, I fixed this and now this is wrong, and now this is wrong, and now this is wrong. Like, well, actually, that was all part of the journey of what got you to here in the first place. So you are backtracking. So when you can jump on things and become really intuitive, and you're working on the proactive approach to health, fitness, and wellness, then it becomes much easier to notice when these things come up. Now, also though, on the contrary to that, if you do find yourself in that space, it is also means that everything you do counts. Every little change you make is also impacting the whole body. So if you don't know where to start and you start somewhere, that is going to have a knock-on effect. So this one thing, optimizing my sleep. Optimizing my sleep is going to help support my hormones. It's going to help support my energy. It's going to help support my recovery, my physical recovery. So focusing on this one thing is also going to help multiple body systems. So that is also a benefit as well. So once you're on that cascade, don't freak out. You just need to start making small changes. That's where it's at. So anything in the body can be fertility, pain, inflammation, hormones, mood, hunger, metabolism, libido, and it all has long and short-term effects. So that's why we are, again, always coming back to looking at those underlying factors. The body is so integrated. When we put pressure on one, it's going to impact multiple areas. And again, just coming back to that intuition and really feeling when something isn't quite right. I've got miniature bugs on me. Okay, so fun fact, that's not so fun. Out of the 10,000 chemicals that are used and heavily used in all of our personal care products, only 10%, I think that might be actually 14% now, I think it's slightly higher, only 10% of those have actually ever been proven safe. So the rest of those are safe until proven guilty. The time, energy, resources that it would take to individually pinpoint and prove that each of those, some are very well known, carcinogenics, hormone disruptors, endocrine disruptors, all of these kinds of things. Some of them are well known for that, but until someone spends the money testing on that particular toxin, then it's not going to happen. So it really is up to us to take radical responsibility for ourselves, our own health and wellness. Yeah, I can pause there. Don't need to finish that with an because that is so powerful. Okay, so how to get rid of toxins in your life? Simple. That's the positive part, is just actively choosing natural, organic personal care products where you can, and look out for greenwashing, because that is absolutely crazy now. It infuriates me, and I've had to just really let that go, because when we go and like food and chemicals, all of that, let's say paraben free, non-toxic, all natural and things like that, and then you flip it over and read the back of ingredients, and there might be a natural ingredient in there, or it's coming under fragrance as the smell. That's a classic. So fragrance means they don't have to disclose what is under the fragrance banner. So if they want to say that, oh, it's a proprietary scent, we don't want to disclose that, they can use whatever they want to create that and pop it under fragrance, which is really quite frightening that there's no transparency around that. The EWG Environmental Working Group app is free. It's amazing, super easy to use. And basically they do an individual rating of all the different products. and they put on a scale of 1 to 5, I think it is, what is toxic and not. So really awesome. You can scan the barcode in there and it tells you. So if anything, go and download that app, the EWG, Environmental Working Group. Super awesome. Another awesome way to do it is to do it yourself. DIYs are amazing for saving money. Bicarb soda, Castile soap, salts is pretty much used for everything in our house. Pretty much everything. So washing powders, floors, house cleaners, wipes, spray and wipes, and vinegar. Washes, serums, anti-aging products, immune support, first aid, body washes, all of these are ones you can DIY. I'm not using bicarb soda in my anti-aging products. That was just the cleaning stuff. So there's also some amazing resources. So once you dive into those, doTERRA themselves have a DIY blog, so you can jump on and check out some great resources there, or reach out and I can send you through some of mine as well. Okay, so emotional support, there are some specific oils that we can use for emotional support, and these are so powerful because of that aromatic use that I mentioned earlier. So simply taking that really big inhale and that long, slow breath out triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, and we can anchor in an emotion or response to a specific oil. Balance is a really great one for that. That comes in the Home Essentials kit now as well, which is a grounding blend. So that's my go-to personally. Adaptive is also another one. If you've been using the oils for a little while, there are specific kits that you can look at if you're looking at specifically emotional support. And how? Because they can be calming, energizing, soothing, renewing, invigorating, and uplifting. doTERRA have also created some blends, which are the perfect combinations for these specific emotions, if that's what you're looking for as well. All right, I won't go through all the individual oils for that, because it really is a bit of a trial and error for the specifically for the emotional support. You do need to find what works best for you. Enhancing sleep and energy. So sleep, if you know that quantity isn't there, you got little kids, quality is absolutely critical. It's non-negotiable. The quality of your sleep is paramount. And there's things that we can do to layer into that. Sleep is going to affect everything in the body's homeostasis. So every day we're tapping into our body's resources, and then sleep we're replenishing. So if we're not getting quality sleep, we're replenishing to here. Then we're expecting the same amount out of our day, but we're only replenishing to here. And we get into this deficit. And that deficit is a deficit in hormones, digestive, temperature regulation, everything, the whole body. So recovery, physical recovery, tissue, ligaments, bones, muscles, all the things. So then when we're not hitting that reset button and we're living in a deficit, that's when we end up with that cascade of health issues as well. So if sleep is something that you are not dialed in on yet, I urge you to focus on that. And we've got movement, holistic health. What would I be without movement? I own a gym, like it's critical. But just general movement and the right kind of movement is critical. If I've got a client that's walking in that is sleepy as high stress, the last thing I'm going to do is encourage them to jump in and do a HIIT, high intensity, like, let's go, yep, you're after fat loss kind of session, because that is just going to spiral them into higher depletion, lower depletion of their whole body stores. So they're not going to burn fat. They're just going to keep spiraling, they're spiking cortisol and all of this kind of stuff. So if we can still use movement to nourish the body in what it needs, and again, coming back to that intuition, if it's a walk or if it's a stretching kind of session and things like that, really feeling into what the body needs and the right kind of movement, that is going to lift us up. After a workout, you should feel built up. You should feel energized for the day. If you're doing a workout and feel like you need to go home and have a nap for 3 hours, then there's something wrong. There's something that's going on, and it's an underlying issue that you need to look at. No amount of peppermint is just going to fix that. Some clary sage might support the hormones though, or aroma touch. Okay, so we're taking action. We're looking at a 5-minute morning movement routine. So Sorry, talking too much. A 5-minute morning routine in the morning is going to get that blood flow, circulation going. We're going to eat nutrient dense foods. This is the fuel for us. We're going to increase water intake and a sleep routine. So integrating the oils into these really simple, basic routines, one, is going to elevate what you're actually doing and what you're going to achieve. Two, it's going to help you it gives you something physical to anchor that habit into. So how many times you've said, oh, I'm going to go to bed earlier so I get a good night's sleep. That's all good and well, but if your body isn't getting into deep REMs quick enough and you are being woken up by kids and things like that, that's probably not going to work. If you have a beautiful diffuser blend that's going to help get you into those deeper REMs quicker, that is what optimizing sleep routine is going to look like. If you're using vetiver on the big toe because of vetiver, or digestion on the big toe because the brain just goes off at bedtime, that is going to be optimizing sleep. Okay, so we're looking at ways that we can optimize. So what's the problem? What's the cause? And then how can I support that? Cool. You with me? Almost done. Quick one for the mini-me's. So I just popped this one in here. Sorry, it's not 20% off. I didn't delete that quick enough. We've got the kids collection as well. So if you do have little ones, these are a really great support for kids, and they've been specifically blended for little kids. So mine actually have this kit each, and they take it to school with them. It's in their bags, so they know they can use it for all the things. One of them has a gluten intolerance, so there's a tummy tamer in there, which is kind of like the adult's digestion. So if they have cupcakes for a school birthday party, he knows that he can use that and he'll be okay. He can tolerate a little bit, so he knows he'll be okay if he uses that. Brave, we've got Stronger if they're just feeling a bit run down. Karma, Rescuer for any aches and pains, things like that. So we can go through those ones specifically if the kids kit is something that you look at purchasing, and I can help you through that as well. All right. And then you get to choose your journey. So we have got, for those of you that don't have essential oils yet, you've got the Live. And even if you do have essential oils, you've got the Live, the living with essential oils, the wellness lifestyle, the choosing in, sharing. So sharing is simply inviting any of your friends to one of these classes. So I've got a few more coming up over the course of the next month. So if you've got any friends you'd like to bring along, fantastic. Or you can reach out. If you do already have essential oils, you can reach out to the person that introduced you to them or helped you get started with your oils, and they're your main support person. Or just inviting some friends over for coffee, sharing a drop of peppermint and helping them get started on their life or their wellness lifestyle. Or we have building to supplement or add an additional income stream for you, which is super beneficial at the moment. If anyone's food bill is sitting up around the $600 a week because my kids eat so much food, then this is obviously a really great way to do that, and we can help support you and do that as well. For those of you that haven't got the essential oils yet, these are 3 of the main kits. There are a few other kits though, so it just gives you a bit of an overview. Most of the oils that I went through today are in the Home Essentials kit, which is this bottom one on the right-hand side. That gives you the top 10 oils, and basically is going to help support you in 80% of day-to-day issues that arise. If you are all in, you're like, I've got all the things, I'm ready for this, I'm all in, I want to overhaul my laundry cupboards, I want to overhaul my personal care products, all of that. This top kit is the way to go. That's our Nature Solutions. And then the bottom left is the Aroma Touch. This is a beautiful kit as well, a really well all-rounded kit. It's got a little bit more of the, it's got a good combination of the emotional oils and the physical. So your Ice Blue for the aches and pains. It's got Aroma Touch, which is great for adrenals, cortisol, hormone support, balance for grounding, emotional. But then you've got your other physical oils like your On Guard, which is great for immune support, Wild Orange, which is basically the best all-round oil for everything. And then you've got Tea Tree as well. So you've got a cleaning. So, and they're the most versatile kits that I do recommend. So if you haven't started with your essential oils yet, so some of you have, but send me a message. Afterwards, I'll catch up, see what you thought. If you have any questions, if you would like to look at any of those kits, I can help you sort out which one is most relevant to you and what what maybe issues that you're dealing with at the moment or what you want to target the most, and then I can recommend it personally for you. Okay. And then if you haven't got started with your essential oil journey yet, I do actually have some extra goodies for you, as I am part of a Diamond Club, which is a program that doTERRA is running at the moment for leaders, and which means I get to give you some extra free oils. So when you get started with a kit, you get some bonus free oils with those as well. So much goodies, so much goodies. Do also stay tuned, because I have got some workshops over the course of this month, and some some gorgeous gifts that I will be doing as well. So for all of you that have attended my workshops, you will get an email about how you might be able to score or go in the draw to score some of those. Everyone loves merch. Beautiful. And then there's a little on the if you are looking at long-term proactive approach to health and wellness, and you really want to create that cost effectiveness of using the doTERRA products, making simple switches is a really great way to do that on the loyalty rewards program. Now, this is completely optional program, and you can opt into it, and it's a monthly order that you have full control over. You can cancel it at any time. You can order just one thing if you want, or you can stock up. So I've replaced all of the things that I would normally buy at the shopping center, and within the first 3 months, I noticed the massive difference, because my spending at the supermarket is consistent over the month now. I'm not getting that one shop a month where it blows up because I'm buying all of the personal care products and cleaning products and things like that. So it was over those over that I really noticed the difference. And then the rewards points that you get with doTERRA is extremely generous. So you get $10 back off your shop when you get 2,000 points with, say, Woolworths. And then that is approximately a $2,000 spend. It's about dollar for dollar. Sometimes you get bonus points if you buy certain products. So with the doTERRA, if you were to spend so that's $10 back on approximately $2,000 of spending. On the doTERRA products, $2,000 worth of spending, which you might do a little bit further over time though, will be approximately $568, I did the maths, worth of free product that you can spend however you like on your free product, as well as over $400 worth of free product automatically in that order. So when you're ordering monthly, there's bonus oils, there's bonus reward points and things like that. So if you're looking at really customizing that, we can help support you in really getting nitty and gritty in the saving the most amount of money and making it cost effective, if that's what you're looking at as well. Okay, and then ongoing support and education, another game changer of why you might invest in essential oils if you haven't done that yet. So there's so much support that we offer. For us personally, if you have enrolled with us, if you're on or you decide to enroll with us, we have a personal team app as well that we do, that our team has access to and has all of our resources, education there. And then I also have a bunch of resources that I have created over time as well. So ones for mums, green cleaning, DIY, things like that. And then we do run an 8-week ongoing class, which is a weekly class that we run on a different topic each week. So we've got women's health and hormones, anti-aging and skincare, off the top of my head. And there's a few others. I need to recap on those. So that runs over the course of 8 weeks. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. The last one. Sorry, I mentioned this in your 3 ways as well. If you're looking at supplementing your income, building a business, or sharing with friends, that's another great way that you can add an additional income stream to your family's income at the moment. Beautiful. Okay. Oh, I was close. I always go over. I was close. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, if you want any of those resources, please message me and I will send them through to you. And I will send through this recording so you have access to all of the tips that I was giving you along the way. And thank you so much. I hope that was really powerful for you, or really valuable for you, I should say. And if you have any questions at all or want to dive more specifically on anything, please reach out as well. This is obviously just a snippet. My specialty is women's health, hormones, pelvic floor, kids, obviously fitness. Yeah, so I kind of have dived all in when it comes to health and wellness and fitness. So thank you again so much for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon.